All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, you see it on the screen. I'm sure you saw it in the thumbnail. We're going to be talking a little bit about the decks that I would consider the top 5 decks in the OP07 format. You see them on the screen here: Black, Yellow, Luffy, Red, Purple, Law, Enel, Lucci, and Bonney. We're going to be going over those today. Let me not get ahead of myself. Let me go and just give you guys a quick layout, because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to go over. So first up, what we're going to do is we are going to be, let me see what I called this thing. I still need to come out with a good name for it. But for now, I'm calling it the Community Gameplay Review. I mentioned that in yesterday's video. I'll mention it more when we get into it. Hang on. Hold tight. Hold tight. That's the first thing we're going to go over. Basically a new feature for the daily agenda on this channel. All right, that's first. So then second, we're going to talk about the early meta results that have come up for OP07. We're gonna review my tier list that I made and talk about how accurate it was. And we're also going to look at a tier list from over at Eggman Events. Don't worry, we'll go over that when we get to it. Then we will go over 5 games on the sim that I did, 1 game each of each one of these leaders you see. And guys, they are very strong leaders. There's a reason they're considered A tier to S tier, like the top dogs in the format. We'll talk about that more. And I'll try to remember when we get to, right before that, before we get to the games on the sim, I'll try to remember to mention some very close runner-ups, you know, some decks that are like knocking on the door of these, you know, of these top leaders here. Okay, then we will go over to the deck analysis and breakdown of each one of the decks I'm using for these leaders. We'll talk about that, spend a little time on that, and we will wrap up with an art critique. Okay, so we have a full schedule for today, guys. We got a lot to go over. So without any further ado, let's dive in. All right, first up, let me set this up the way that I have to do this. You know, I don't like to show the names of the people on here. You know what I mean? Just in case they want some kind of privacy. But here we go. I made a layout and everything. Whoops, almost messed up my face cam there, guys. Let me move that. There we go. Okay, so the first game we have lined up here is a game that was submitted by someone in the community, one of my viewers. If you are interested, let me move my face over just to kind of show the layout of how these are going to be. If you are interested in me reviewing your video, no problem. You just have to record a game first, and I don't care if you record the game like live in person on a camera of like you know, a physical game, or a game on the sim like what we're going to watch today. If you want me to review your video, record it and upload it to YouTube, and then send the link to me in Discord. Okay, that is how we're going to do this for anyone who is interested. It's all free, but you just have to go through the steps, obviously, to record it. I can't help you there. You have to record it yourself, and then, you know, just upload it to YouTube. It's very easy. If you've never done it, it's very easy to do. Upload it to YouTube, and then you can send it the link. Once you upload it, you can send the link to me on the Discord, and I even have a channel dedicated to it and everything, guys. Let me see what I actually, I'll check later. I have a channel dedicated to it and everything. I think it's called Review My Game or Game Reviews, and just hop in there, post the link, say, hey, can you review my video? And I'll be like, yep, sure can. And I'll throw you right in line, guys, because I already asked yesterday for the first time, and I got 3 names. 3 people have already submitted their videos for me to review, and we're going to go in order. Now, notice the list I just showed you. It looks like, wow, you have all those games lined up. Yes, but it's only 3 players. So in other words, it's going to be, we're going to do this game today, and those are all the games he sent me. Whoops, there we go. Tomorrow's video is going to be this player. Those are all the games they sent me, and then the third day will be this player, and they only sent me 1 game on the last one. If you're okay, how do I say this? I'm only going to do 1 video per person, and just keep going down the line, first come, first serve. And if I ever get to the point where I get called up with new players, then I'm just going to go back and do the second game that each player offered. You see what I'm saying? Hopefully that made sense. If not, just message me in the comment section below. The point is, I've got 3 games lined up to start with, and this is a feature, guys, that I really want to keep going. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but I can't do this one without y'all. Okay, so for those who want me to review their games and feature them on the channel for free like this, by all means, all you have to do is record your game, upload it to YouTube, and then send it to me on Discord. Send me the link on Discord. It's that easy, guys, and then I'll throw you in line, and I'll get to you eventually, whatever the, you know, like I said, first come, first serve. And like I said, I'll always do the first video per player, you know, down the line each, before I start doing multiples of the same player, right? Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's dive into the first one. This guy recorded it on their phone. Okay, so let me also mention that. I don't care if you record it on your phone. I don't care if you recorded like a live game, you know, in person, you know, a physical game, a game on the sim, however you want to do it. It doesn't matter to me as long as you can upload it to YouTube and send me the link. Then I can feature it on the channel. So, and also one more thing. I don't care what leader you're running, and I don't care if you win or lose. None of that matters to me. Let's just have fun and review a good game. All right, let's do this, guys. First game is up here. Notice, like I said, they put hello. You know, they're just trying to be nice at the beginning. The volume is already off. The speed is on 2x, and we are ready to go, guys. Very excited about this. We have a game of Vega versus Vega. The Vega mirror. Let's go. Okay, first up here. So they start off. I'm going to have to pause. This game's going very quickly. The top player went first, right? The player at the top went first, and he played out an Atlas. Right on turn 1. That's a pretty good play, right? And then the player on the bottom started off with a Lilith, which is a top searcher. I think it's top 3 or top 5 search for Vegapunk. So pretty decent starts for each player. The player on the top is now on their second turn. They threw a Shaka into life, which is going to come down as a free blocker. And now it looks like they're going to swing 7 at face. Let's see what happens. Or swing 8, excuse me. They countered out. Double 2K counter out. Very nice. That seemed a little early. But at the same time, and look at this, they're actually going to, okay, so I'm a little confused on this first. And guys, don't worry, I'm not going to be like overly critical for those who might be thinking like, oh, he's just going to, you know, make fun of me in the video. I'll never do that. That's not how I am. One thing I do want to recommend in this situation, the Atlas cannot be KO'd in battle if you have less life than your opponent. I feel like this situation here, I would be going into the Atlas. And I already understand they're probably going to pop the Atlas with, Nami, but I do like to try to save cards in hand. But at the same time, the person we're watching today, guys, I know them on the channel. They are like a Vegapunk enthusiast, and they are very good with this deck. So there's only one thing I'm going to mention, though. Like I said, I don't know if I would have countered out there. I would have probably just taken the hit and just smashed into their Atlas, because that's going to cost cards out of their hand that they don't want to give, and you still will be able to play a card into your life, you know, with a Vegapunk. But this move works as well. Another thing I added, guys, hang on. So, and they ended up taking the hit, and they're probably going to let me let it play out there and put the shock into play. Watch this, guys. I also added this I might mess with later. All right, you ready for this, guys? Look at this over here. We might have to mess with this idea later, talking about chess terms, right? I always like to use chess terms. If I were to rate those, you know, those options that we were just talking about, the one that he did was a excellent option, like being, you know, countering out early, and then they're still going to follow with what I said. But see, now they get the body. So actually, I got to go down to a good one here. I won't keep this one out. Don't worry, I'm not going to judge every play, but it's something. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Should I judge plays using this thing over here? Tell me in the comment section below. I think it could be fun. Okay, because it's not a blunder. It wasn't a mistake. It's just, was there a better play? That becomes the question. And honestly, I do think that the better play there would just be to take that first hit, because you can still play the Nami out regardless and only lose 1 card from hand, as opposed to drawing a card in this situation. But let's see what happens here. Okay, play out the Nami. Like I said, they're going to trash card that has a trigger to KO the Shaka, and now they're going to be able to draw a card because they were down to 3 in hand. That's how the new 5-cost Nami works. Now, like I said, I still like the idea of keeping their board clear and maintaining board dominance, because whoever gets to start clearing the board first, as Vega, is in very good shape. All right, so let's see what happens now. Now it's back to the player up top. They're on their 3rd turn. Okay, they're going to be up to 5 Dawn here, and they're going to play out another Atlas, but they're going to play it to their life. Okay, so now, man, this is wild how they're not going for the characters. I guess, hey, guys, is my Vegapunk, you know, meta off for now? Like, am I not caught up with the current Vegapunk versus Vegapunk meta? Because that, I would be going for board. That's just me personally. Okay, so right here, we're going to swing for 5. I like that. I love that poke there, because that didn't cost you any Dawn investment. You just smacked them, and now you're going to see what their reaction is. Smack for 5 more, and now they're giving you cards from hand. We'll take it, and you had another Nami. You're going to trash a card with it did it draw a card? I'm sorry, that was a little too quick for me, guys. I'm a little slow today. Boom, yeah, trash the Kikanojo. Oh, he had 5 cards in hand, so he only went down to 4. So did not get to draw this time, but that's okay. Now we're getting a lot of board presence, and this is looking very good for the player on the bottom here. 7 into 5. Now they're finally going for the board. Okay, finally. I understand. Okay, let me say one more thing before I unpause it. I understand the idea of like, okay, you want to keep your health low so you can keep getting your benefit from the triggers. But remember, guys, you could just set it to health and just play bodies straight to the board with Vegapunk. So that's where I'm a little bit confused on what they were trying there. Okay, and why we're just now going for the board. Because the play on the bottom is doing very well here. Yeah, 7 into 6 is a good play. That is a good attack there. 7 to 6, boom. Eat up all their 2K counters. Love to see it. Very happy with that. Okay, and that was an 8 Dawn play, and I definitely agree with doing... Well, okay, let's talk about some other options there. Could have also just gone face-face, you know, 5-5 to face, and then played out a Katakuri, throwing the Nami back to the top of life, and potentially getting some shenanigans going that way, where you could pop characters. There is some potential there. Because notice, Atlas is on the screen right now, so we can actually read it, which is perfect. If your life is lower than your opponent's life, this card cannot be KO'd by battle. So in other words, any kind of effect can always KO it, no matter what life they're at. But in battle, you have to have less life than your opponent. Or excuse me, if your life is lower than your opponent's, this card cannot be KO'd in battle. Okay. All right, we're still going to add the what is that? I can't remember the name of that event there, but it's like, I think it's the 3K counter event. Okay, and now we're going to play out Kikanojo, play out the Luffy. That can only pop a 4 or less, so we can't pop the Atlas. Very nice there. Okay, let's see what we got. And here we go. Now we're in a little bit of an attrition life war. Plays out Lilith, or excuse me, plays out that, wait, what was that? I think the event, yeah, the event allowed you to play a 4 or less character, I think it is, or a 5 or less character from your trash. This costs 5 or lower character with Egghead in it from your trash, and they chose the Lilith. I do like that because that's a body and it's going to give you a card in hand. That was an excellent play there. That I would consider that excellent. 6 into 6, beautiful. You love to see it. You have less life than them, so you can attack into them. Let's throw a Robin on top. Very nice. Playing out the Katakuri, establishing tempo. They already swung with the Kikanojo, so now we're getting the card on top. Now, choosing not to swing there is interesting because I know you don't want to give them a Shaka, but at the same time, I don't think it would have been horrible to swing there. But I do like the idea of staying back as well. I think that was just a good play. Okay, let's see what happens here. So they only have 1 card in hand. The player at the top only has 1 card in hand. Let's see what it is. Like, we need to know. They have a Yamato on the board. If they attack in... Starting to hit some stalemate scenarios here. Because if they attack into face here, you get a free Kikanojo, right? The player on the bottom is getting a free Kikanojo. Now, if the player on the bottom attacks in the Vega, they get a free draw too from Nico Robin. This is getting crazy, right? This is getting really crazy. Okay, so right here, puts down top, pop, wow. Okay, that was a 9-cost pop from the Yamato. that was devastating. That was absolutely devastating. 6 into 7, yeah. Now it's like, sure, you can have the Shaka if you want it, by all means. Okay, and no one's really running. Actually, I'm surprised they didn't pop the, since they're on the back foot, I'm actually surprised. I'm very surprised, in fact, that they did not pop the Lilith with that Luffy. Oh, wait, if they can't. Excuse me, they can't because they went so high in life. And this is the danger of going high in life with Vega. Okay, 5 into 5 here. They get to draw 2. 6 into 5, get the Shaka. 8 into 5. Now it's, I would take this. There's no way I'd counter out if I could. Okay, get back the Atlas with that trigger from that card that they just used and that was used earlier by the player on the bottom. That trigger is outstanding. That trigger is really excellent. Okay, Shaka coming down. This is a full board versus full board now. Boom. Playing out. Maybe. All right, hear me out. I think it might have been smarter to KO the Luffy. Okay, hear me out. Because the Luffy can now attack into something like your Luffy and you have no life, right? So he can now swing 6 into your Luffy and then pop his Luffy to KO the Lilith and then eat up the rest of the board. And I think they can actually eat up the entire board, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they will or not, but all they have to do is attach 2 to Atlas and 3 to the Shaka and do a full board clear here. Let's see what they choose to do, though. Okay. That was odd. That was... Okay. I do have to be slightly critical here. I'm bringing back out the chess accuracy meter, guys. We're bringing out the accuracy meter. So that is what I would consider a blunder. I think that was just a straight-up blunder or a missed play because, y'all hear what I'm saying, right? In this situation, full Dawn. They have all their Dawn. They're at 2 or less life, so the Luffy can pop itself to KO a 4 or less character, and Lilith is a 3-cost character. So he should have swung 6 into the other Luffy, popped the Luffy to draw a card and KO the Lilith. then attach 2 to the Atlas to KO the Katakuri, attach 3 to the Shaka to KO the Yamato, and then they could play whatever they had from their hand this turn other than Yamato itself, but you don't need to at that point. And then you have 3 cards on the board, and they just have a Yamato. So that was definitely somewhere along the lines of a misplay or a blunder, if I had to rate it. Okay, but that's okay. Hey, that's the best part about submitting these guys is learning. Okay, they had a Lilith to play too. That's very interesting. I wish I knew the other 2 cards in their hand. Okay, so they're going to so 7 Lin. That's very interesting here. Okay, not exactly the best pull, right? But you're in such a good shape here. You're going to force them to give you a life. They drew with the Nico Robin. Now they have to give you a life because otherwise you could swing for lethal. Excellent. That was an excellent play there, the way that was timed. 13 into 8, who cares? You know, you still have 2 bodies here. Okay, they play out the stage. Swing 9, get a Shaka. You already know you're going to be getting cards from life like that. And right here, it's just time to swing for game. Okay, so it's interesting. Let me say this. It's interesting you didn't choose to swing for game when they only have the 2 life and 1 blocker. Now, I understand it depends what they have in hand, right? Or excuse me, not in hand, in their life. But right here, I probably, if you are really committed to KOing the Yamato, I think 3 attacks of 9 would also be pretty good here. But I would try to, personally, in this situation, I probably would have gone for game. All right, let's see what happens. 12 into 9, yeah, I don't think he wants to give that up, and he also doesn't want to give up the blocker. Interesting. So 9 into 5. This should make it through very easily. I would not counter out of this. I think you just have to chance it with the blocker and what's in your life. Okay, let's see what he does here. He is really in the tank, gets a Shaka. That was a very fortunate hit from the top there. And okay, and then the guy just left. Let me pause a little bit quicker. Boom, boom. Right there. Okay, so they had a Robin, Zoro, and Luffy in hand. So they had 3 1Ks in hand. The last card could have got them a blocker back, I believe. That last trigger card, I think, could have gotten them a blocker. But I think where they really... so let's just go back a little bit, guys, and analyze real quick before we move on to the meta decks. This person had a chance to take the game over, and at least in my personal opinion, right here. So take this hit. That's fine. And now they get a Shaka, deploy that, KO that, pass. So right here was this person's turn to try to win the game, but I feel like they kind of messed it up here. Because what they should have done is swing 6 into your Luffy. You have no cards in hand. You can't block it. There's no way to counter out. Then you KO the Luffy to get the Lilith, like I said, 8 into the Katakuri, 9 into the Yamato, and that's only 5 Dawn for the turn. That's only 5 Dawn for the turn. Then you get to play whatever else you had in your hand, and the most you could take out next turn is whatever you could swing into with the Yamato, and then he could then chain into your Yamato, and everything changes from there. You know what I mean? So still a very good game. That was a lot of fun. I really love analyzing these games, and I hope none of this was taken out of context. Like, I'm not trying to belittle any of the players. These were both really, this was a really fun game to watch, and both players seemed like they knew what they were doing. Okay, you know, that was good stuff. Okay, now let me go ahead and pause this for a second. Y'all give me just a second. Let me bring back up the Patreon thing. Take this this off. Like I said, I like to try to keep my players' privacies. You know, I like to have them. I don't want anyone to like know their names and stuff like that. That's just not what it's all about. Okay, now let's talk about the meta. Okay, let me move my face over. We're going to talk a little bit about the meta now. Let me minimize my head there. I'm over on the Eggman Events site now. And then we'll talk about the tier list. And check this out, guys. So for the first big regional, which was Utrecht, I think that's how you say it, Utrecht. Check this out, guys. Now, yes, there was one absolutely random deck in here that won it all in red-green Trafalgar Law. I think this will be an anomaly. I don't foresee Law doing super well in the format. But, hey, you got to give credit where it's due. This guy, George S., I'm not going to try to butcher that last name. They did amazing. I did watch the game. I had a video. I saw a video of the finals, and he did very well, played very well, and all that good stuff. But I'm just going to say this: I do think Red Green Law will struggle into Rob Lucci, but the matchup is not unwinnable, if that makes sense. Okay, and Trafalgar Law does now have access to an extremely powerful card in Cavendish. Okay, so very good stuff there. And if you want to check out these, results, I will link Eggman's website in the comment section below, so that way you can, I will link Eggman's site in the comment section below. I think I messed that up, but y'all know what I'm saying. But check this out, guys. When you look at the leader breakdown, number one, look at the overall leader breakdown right here, guys. And this is why I call these 5 decks here the top 5 decks in the format. It's not that they're going to win every tournament. It's just that they are the decks you should expect to see the most representation from at the more competitive tournaments. Okay, so with that in mind, 120 decks were Rob Lucci, 83 were Red Purple Law, 81 were Enel, 56 were Black Yellow Luffy, and 43 were Jewelry Bonney. And then Gecko Moria, you can kind of classify that under the Rob Lucci umbrella. They're both just strong black decks with control. But then there are two other decks we have to talk about, really three, unfortunately for some people, fortunate for others. Doflamingo, Boa Hancock, and Nami. Those are the three blue decks, and they kind of... There are the people who absolutely love the Boa Hancock leader, and there are people who absolutely love the Doflamingo leader. If you are a blue player, you definitely have representation here. Players that play black have Rob Lucci and Gecko Moria. Players that play red or purple, you can kind of mess with Trafalgar Law, even though I know it's not your favorite idea. Yellow has Enel, and then black-yellow. Luffy is really just a yellow deck, to be honest, with a few black cards in it. And then Jewelry Bonney is green. So whatever color you're trying to play, there is representation for, and these decks can compete. Because look at this, guys. In the top 16, there was a Doflamingo and a Nami. So if you're a blue player, there is an option there for you. For black, it's Rob Lucci. For green, Bonney. Red, Purple Law. Red, Green Law. That was really wild, right? Yellow, Enel, Doflamingo, Nami, and, of course... Black Yellow Luffy. So really good stuff there. That's kind of the idea. Now I want to like tie this idea in with like, I did a tier list 2 weeks ago. Look, I still got the beard. You see the beard up there, the crazy beard up there, guys. And I'm making a crazy face. Okay, we got to hide that. We got to hide that immediately. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, this is the list I made about 2 weeks ago in anticipation for OP07. I had Sakazuki up there just because that was like where it left off. I just left it up there. I know it's banned. I will link the video to this in the comment section if you've not already seen it and you want to see my full breakdown of this entire list, because I also go over the OP08 predictions as well. But back to OP07. I think I nailed it with these top three. I think Red Purple Law and Lucci especially are dead on, but I will actually say I think Black Yellow Luffy falls down below into A now. That's just me personally. I think it's still a highly competitive deck, but I actually think Red Purple Law and Lucci are like the top dogs. And then I would also, this was kind of just all the green decks in a row. Bonney is the best of the green decks currently, even though, Yamato's green and yellow. It's not even just a green deck, and Perona's green and black. But for the green decks, like, Bonney should actually be all the way up here next to Enel. Because I think the top 5 decks currently are Red Purple Law, Lucci, Black Yellow Luffy, Enel, and Bonney. I think those are the top 5. And then there are some leaders that are trying to poke into that area, like Doflamingo, Boa, Red Purple Luffy. Don't count him out. Don't count out Red Purple Luffy. And then green yellow Yamato. So I'm pretty happy with where I had these, but if I were to make a quick adjustment, I think I would actually push Bonney. Maybe, I don't know. It's just right next to Enel. It's hard to say which one's better. They're both just extremely solid. But then I would keep Red Purple Law and Lucci on top. Okay, now I did have Red Green Law under casual, but hey man, I love, if any of these decks win that are in the D or C tier, that just makes me happy. I don't get upset about it. It's like, yeah, please, I would love for any of these B, C, or D decks to win a regional. That would just be incredible. But I do just want to preface by saying this. I don't expect many Red-Green Laws to, first of all, to even be at these regional level tournaments. Who knows? Maybe the meta will totally shift. You never know. And second, I don't think that many will win, if any more will win at all. So, and you tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Now, another video I'm going to link in the comment section. We're not going to watch this, but we're just going to click on this and look at it. This is from over on Eggman, the Eggman YouTube. This is the tier list he came up with Jonas and this other person here. Let me see his name. I don't actually know him. Russell. This guy Russell down here, and then Jonas, and then of course Eggman. This is the tier list they came up with, which I think is really cool. They don't do all the off meta stuff. They're only considering decks that have a chance. For highly competitive, they had the exact same idea that I had here, and no, I didn't take this from them. My video came out literally 2 weeks before this, and they didn't take it from me. I think we're all just on the same page. Like, people who do pay attention to the competition, this is where you're going to be at. And then for competitive, I'll tell you the few places that I feel like we do disagree on, and it's not a big deal, right? They have their opinion, I have mine. It's nothing like that. Yes, it's nothing personal. But I think all this is correct. The only thing that I think is weird on here is I feel like the Uda is underplayable. I feel like Uda should be where Dragon is. I just feel like these two should have switched places. Literally everything else I think is fine. Unlikely for Foxy. That's kind of interesting because this is a hardcore control deck, guys. This Foxy list is very strong. Vega is starting to see some... I think this is... It needs to be more, you know... I think we need to wait for OP08 for Vega to have any chance. But it's funny they have it on there. But Red Purple Luffy, Uda... I would say Red, Purple, Luffy, and Uda I could see underplayable. And if I were to change them out, I would actually change out the Dragon down and probably the Reiju down to unlikely because Reiju has such a hard time in a Red, Purple Law, and we know Red, Purple Law is going to be a big part of the format. But they came out with an awesome list. Definitely check out this video, guys. I like all these guys, all these, you know, the players and Eggman. I have no problem with any of these guys. I think they're really cool, and they do such a great job in the community. I'm a big fan of their stuff. That's why I always like to, you know, show off their stuff on the channel and link you guys to them if you don't already know about them. But the chances are, if you know about me, you know about Eggman's channel. He's got 26K subs. Okay, so that's it for that part. Let's go ahead and hop into the sim. Or, well, we're not going to hop into the sim yet. We're going to go over some games on the sim. Okay? We're going to be checking out 5 different games on the sim of me playing basically those leaders we considered to be the top 5, right? Okay, or the leaders I was talking about as being the top 5. Because they're just really solid, guys. So let's go ahead and hop into this. Let me make sure the volume is off. It's not this time. I was not prepared. You are not prepared. There we go. Speed on 2x. We got the volume off. Face cam is good. I almost clicked stop recording. That would have really frustrated me because I do these in a single take. And now we're going to hit play. Okay, let's do this. So this is Bonney versus Black Yellow Luffy. Bonney is very strong into Black Yellow Luffy, okay, guys? And I think you're going to see that in today's video. I almost didn't keep this game because I felt like it was not fair. And I think you guys are going to see what I'm talking about. Like, watch this, guys. Okay, I play down the Bonney, play down another Bonney, the Searcher Bonnies, of course. I'm trying to fix my hand. Right here, I really want the biggest card I can get because the bigger the card is versus Black Yellow Luffy, pretty much the better. Right, it's the harder for them to deal with, and when you start attacking with it, you're starting to get like serious, you know, real responses out of their hand. Now the list I'm running, okay, so watch this, guys. They swing into my Bonney. I'm like, okay, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it then, and then they swung their leader into my Bonney. Pause. That is a bad sign. Okay, Black Yellow Luffy should not be concerned with the board when it comes to their leader attacks. Swinging a zero-cost character into the Bonney, that was actually a good play. I thought that was fine because it forced a 2K counter out of my hand. But swinging into my Bonney on the board with the leader, absolutely not. Right? I mean, pretty much absolutely no way. Now, real quick, the deck that I'm running here, I'm going to show at the end of the video, but this is the list that got second place at Utrecht against the Red-Green Law player. This was a very well-tuned list, and, you know, it was a lot of fun. Okay, so right here I do a top 5 search with the Bonney after playing out the Cavendish to get 2 Dawn back. Cavendish is absolutely insane, guys. The card is so good. Okay, I get an Urouge. I was going to get Basil Hawkins, but I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just get the Urouge here. I'd rather just get Urouge. It's a 1K counter in hand if I need it, and I can, you know, start getting Dawn back as well from at the end of turn. So he swings. There you go. That is why, guys, that is why Bonney is so good in a Black Yellow Luffy. He wanted to swing for 2 into my Bonney. Well, that's going to cost you your leader attack this turn. And if Black Yellow Luffy starts falling behind on life, it's all over, right? It's pretty much all over at this point. Okay, they play out the Luffy. They cannot use it on anything on my board. Okay, but right here, I draw into a Zoro. Zoro is one of the absolute, if not the best cards to play against Black Yellow Luffy. It is that good, guys. It is real good. So play out Rosinante, play out Bartolomeo. Into turn, I'm going to get back this card. I'm not swinging at face. I don't want to swing at my opponent's face because I don't want to give them any cards in hand. Okay, if you want to know how to beat Black Yellow Luffy, the answer is to starve them as best as you can while developing a board as large as you can get it. Okay, guys? Not just as wide, but also as tall as you can get it. I'm still at 5 life, by the way, guys. Like, this guy is in a world of trouble currently. Okay, so right here he is down to he still has 3 life, so he can't even use that that Luffy. Okay, look, he had a second guess. He's like, wait a minute, he has a Dawn open. Swing 8 into 6. Okay, well, I'm going to rest your leader now, and now I'm just going to use a blocker. Okay, don't use the Rosinante, of course. Now he has to play out a Sabo. He is in so much trouble right now, guys. Do not go for the board. Okay, so here's the thing, too. If you're playing Luffy, now let's flip it around. You know, as Bonney, it's very easy to beat. You have all the tools to beat Luffy. However, if you're playing Luffy, You do not go for board, guys. You go for face. There is no chance of you destroying their board, and even if you somehow do start destroying their board, the game might already be over, right? It just doesn't work like that. You need to just completely ignore their characters and just go for their face. That's the route to success when playing Black Yellow Luffy. Never worry about their board. Unless it's like I said, with a little 2,000 power searcher going into a 0 power Bonney, or 1,000 power Bonney, whatever. Okay, but I will go into the board because I'm not on the same game plan as Black Yellow Luffy. 6 into 6, he counters out. Guys, this is a worst case scenario situation for the Luffy player. They're in so much trouble. They're in so much trouble, guys. 7 into 7, he gives me a 1k. Why not just let it go? Like, why not just let the card go? Guys, I don't understand. Plays out Hiyori. He's going to have to start getting cards from life. Plays out the Sabo. That's pretty good. That's not bad. He's going down in life. He's getting cards on the board. He's cycling through his hand. But my man has 3 cards left. Protecting that Luffy is what I would consider a play mistake. He's going to swing 7 into 6. I get to lock down his leader now. It just feels so bad, right? It just feels so bad if you're the Luffy player in this situation. He plays out a very strong Luffy there that can actually help him win this game, potentially, but I think it's too little too late, because I'm still at 5 life. I have Zoro on the board, and let's see what my opponent does here. I'll swing 9 into 6 and see what he does. Okay, I'm just trying to get cards off the board or in hand. I use 2 to stand up. Now I'm going to swing with Cavendish at the leader. I'm not going to attach any Dawn to the leader. I'm going to swing at the leader for 6 when he's at 7 to untap my 2 Dawn. Now he gets no cards from his life. He doesn't go down in life. I would have used a blocker there probably if I were him. I think it would have helped, like, you know, maybe, well, I don't know, never mind. In that situation, he couldn't do it. Like, it would have been too devastating. And now I pass turn. I've got 2 blockers. I have a Rosinante. I have a Zoro. I have a Cavendish. This game is over, right? Like, my opponent is in, like, Nightmareville. I don't know what to call it. This is just, he's cooked. This guy's cooked. Like, there's no other way to say it. Okay, let's see what he does here. I'm just checking through his trash. I'm like, what is he going to try to do to win this game? Because if he attacks this turn, guess what I'm going to tap down? It's not going to be that Luffy. It's going to be your Sabo. You know, you could just turn it on like that easy to just, you know, flip the script on him. All right, so let's see what they do. Swing for 10 into 8. Okay, well, I only have 2 1Ks, so I can't get out of this. So what I'm just going to do is use up a blocker in this situation. No problem. Now what? Right, he can't even swing with the rest of his board into my useless kit. It feels so bad, guys. This is a very rough matchup. So now it's going to be swing 9, and notice I locked down his blocker with my Bonney effect. Swing 9, this is going through, and then I could just stand him up again. We'll just load the rest on. Swing 16, GG. Okay, I wasn't swinging for 16 every time, just in case he got some kind of trigger. Who knows if he had some weird beige tech card? You just have to be careful, because even if he had locked down my Zoro, I still have 4 other swings. Okay, so that was Bonney. Bonney is absolutely solid right now, guys. Next up, we got Lucci. Okay, this is probably my favorite deck out of all the 5 currently. I like Black Yellow Luffy as well. That's going to be the last game we look at today. I'm a big fan of Black Yellow Luffy. But Lucci, guys, the black cards are what got me into this game. I already forgot to put on 2x speed. There we go. Okay. So yeah, black is the color that got me into the game. He's going to swing me for 5. I don't like taking life this early against Red Purple Law. It is not a good idea in general, but that's okay. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to fill up my trash like you know, how did I get the other 2 cards in trash? I must have totally missed it. Oh, I did a Spandam search earlier. That's what it was. And he bottom decked it with his leader effect to play out the Shashi and the pudding and all that. Okay, so now it is time to fill up the trash here a little bit with cards I can use with my my Kaku. So right here they play out the, you know, I countered out of both 5Ks with 2K counters, guys. I don't want to go too low in life this early because then Ken Killer just becomes so powerful. They go ahead and play out the Miss All Sunday. They cheat out a Shashi and Penguin, and they have a pretty good board to here. However, this is where, okay, if you're trying to beat Red Purple Law, don't go for face, go for their board, okay? Don't go for their face, go for their board. That is the way to do it, okay? Because you're not going to beat them in a race. Red Purple Law fills the board too quickly while clearing your board while going face. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't do it. Look at that. 6 into 5. He just gave me 2 2K counters. He's still going to lose a card this turn. I'm feeling completely happy about how that turn went. He has no cards in hand. Now, he did just get a queen to go back up to 4 cards. But I've still got a 2K. I've still got 2 1Ks. Okay, 6 into 6 here. I'm going to give him Brook because I can pull that back from my trash. Right here, I'm actually going to give him a 2K counter because he can only swing for 5 more. I get a card for my life here. And now I'm in a situation where I can absolutely start pulverizing this board with 6K attacks. Okay, let's see what my opponent has here. I swing for 5 first because I need all the Dawn for this turn for my my Sabo. I swing for 5. He uses the Queen very effectively there. I'm going to swing 6 and a 5. They give me another 2K, 6 and a 5. I was going to say, how many 2Ks does this guy have? So go ahead and trash card from hand. I trashed the stage at this point because it no longer has value like it used to. And now I'm just going to pop the 2 guys I could. The 5 cost Queen and the 3 cost, what's her name? Reiju. And now they have 1 card on the board. They have 5 cards in hand, but my board is actually very intimidating. Another reason to not trash the Spandam in that situation is it's a 1K counter, which is very, very relevant right now. Okay, let's see what my opponent does. We're just waiting on them to make a move. Okay, I might have it fast forward. All right, here we go. 6 into 6. Very glad I kept that 1K counter. There goes one of your attacks. Let's see what else you have. He has 4 Dawn left. He's going to play out Pudding, play out Gordon, -3, cheat out the Reiju. Very nice. Got to draw 2 cards from that. And now it's like, okay, I have 9 cards in my trash. So real quick for newer players, Tempest Kick requires you to have 10 cards in your trash. Well, part of the cost to activate an event card is you trash the card. So when if I have 9 cards in my trash and my 10th card is Tempest Kick, I will be able to use that as my 10th card in the trash to get the draw effect and the -3, for those who did not already know that. Okay, I have a 10 Dawn turn here. I can do a lot. I can start smashing in for a game, and I also can play. I think I'm trying to fit it where I have exactly 5 Dawn left to go Tempest Kick to pop one of these guys on the board with Rebecca plus Brooke. Okay, let's see what they do. So I swung for, I think I swung for 7. They took it. I want to get my opponent in lethal range here because I'm basically going to say, you can't get through my blocker and still present lethal. That's basically what I'm doing here because I'm going to pop one of his characters as well. So Tempest Kick that card, play out the Rebecca, getting back a Brooke from trash, playing the Brooke from the Rebecca effect, KOing the Reiju. They only have 2 real relevant attacks right now, considering how low how much Dawn they have. Right here, they're going to use the effect to get rid of my Rebecca, the leader effect, after playing Eustace Kid, going up 2 Dawn, 1 from the Pudding, 1 from the Eustace Kid. He swings 5 into 4. I do let that go. I'm not too concerned about saving that card when he has another attack on the board. I would rather protect the card I just pointed to. I would much rather protect the Kaku. And I do choose to do that. He has no more Dawn for the turn. He has no more resources. Right here, though, I am going all in on on the face here. I swing for 9. And man, this guy, I've never seen a Law player draw so many 2K counters. I mean, there you go, guys. How many? Oh, well, I didn't see what it was, but I think it was 2K, 2K, 1K. Or 2K, 1K, excuse me. What am I talking about? 2K, 1K. So right here, it's going to be swing for 10. He has to give me a blocker here. And then it's going to be swing for 11. Has to give me a blocker. I have 3 life. I know what he's going to try to do this turn. He's going to try to sneak at least 1 hit in with what he has on the board here, and then try to finish me with a Kid and Killer. So one of the main reasons, I paused the video, don't worry guys. One of the main ways to defeat Kid and Killer is to play, or to defeat Red Purple Law is to play around Kid and Killer. Okay, that's what I'm playing around this turn, so just understand that. Okay, let's see what he does here. Just waiting on him to make his play. He does take a while. I remember this game. He has a lot to think about. This has been a long game, and it's like, how do I go about winning this? You know, if you're the Red Purple Law player, how do you go about winning this game? The answer is you have to have a blocker. There is no other option. One of your plays must be a blocker. Swings 10 into 9. He took the gamble. It paid off. And then he plays out the Trafalgar Law. Swing for 5. I think I do take this. I don't actually remember, but I do take that. Okay, so in this situation, if I had one way to KO this character, I was looking for a... Pause. So I was looking for a Lucci in my trash, because then what I could have done... Well, no, it still wouldn't have mattered. Never mind, it still wouldn't have mattered. I was thinking what I had in my trash. I didn't have what I needed. But I do have a Sabo play here I can do. So play that out first, draw 2, trash 2. And in this situation, I'm going to keep both of the Kakus. One's a 2K counter, and the other is a 1K counter that can pop a 5 or less. I was going to say, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because now, next turn, I could potentially go for a game with what I have here. Now, here we go again. I'm going to swing for 10. I'm forcing him to give me the blocker because he only has 2 cards in hand. He cannot counter out of a 10K attack with 2 cards in hand. Let's see what he does. He's at 6 Dawn. What can he do here? He can swing 3 times, but I do have a blocker. So does he have a Gordon? Does he have a Raise Max? Does he have a Fire Fist? That's his only chance here. Legitimately, that's his only chance. And it still is not much of a chance, but it can at least you know, get him close to winning, potentially, right? So my opponent is deep in the tank. They still have a chance to win this game. They still have a chance to win this game. But here's the bad news for them. I do have a 7K counter in hand, right? Like if they swing for 7, I have a 2 and a 1. He almost swung for 5. And by the way, if he swings for 5 here, I am not using my blocker. Swings for 5. Okay, you can have a 1K counter, sir. You can have a 1K counter now. You're not getting my blocker. You're going to have to dedicate Dawn to doing that. Swing for 5 again. Okay, again, I'm not letting you set me up with a OTK style attack with Kid and Killer. So I'm giving him a 2K counter. It's all yours, buddy. Because he has to have a blocker. I'm basically saying you have to have a blocker or you have to beat me right now. That's what I'm saying. Because removing my character isn't enough. He drew a card with Miss All Sunday, hoping to draw in. Look at that. Exactly like I said. I knew he had Kid and Killer. He was sitting on that. That was his play. He had a 2K, 1K in hand, so he can only get out of 1 7K attack next turn. But my attacks are going to be for like 10 and 11. So really good stuff there. Okay. Good stuff there. That is a fun matchup. Red Purple Law versus Lucci. Next up, and I think that Red Purple Law player was actually very good. They did a really good job that game. Okay, now we have one random game from OP08, guys. It's Enel, but it's, you know, we're still waiting on the guys over there with Batsu, you know, to update the sim, but he's had some personal issues, so he's still updating, and he has so many cards to add. You know, we got to be patient, guys, because he's just doing this, you know, to help out. Did I put it on 2x speed? I did not. 2x speed. This is a spicy game here, guys. This is a very spicy game. Enel is one of those leaders that can kind of just run you over, okay? It can, you know, because this, I would not consider this a favorable matchup for Enel, by the way, because of the cards that they run. Tinlin is very strong against Enel, but you guys are going to see how I have to deal with this game, or how I choose to. Not how I have to, but how I choose to deal with this game. I play out the Frankie, because I would eventually like to use this card to, you know, throw back into life with my Katakuri. Right here, I'm going to swing for 5. My opponent is already on 8 Dawn, or 10 Dawn, guys. So I was on 6 Dawn. They're at 10. They swing 5. They swing 7. We already know what they're going to do. I go ahead and trash that out. I probably shouldn't have and just done what I was going to do anyway. Like, I don't think I should use my leader effect because I knew they were going to play Tinlin. Okay, so right here, I'm going to swing for 5. Then I'm going to swing for 5 more. He gives me a 1K counter with Frankie. You know, and I'm going to push Frankie back with Katakuri. And now I have the life I have. Now, my opponent got greedy here. I would consider this turn the one to go like 9, 9, or maybe even 11, 11, 12. Like, that's probably what I would have tried to do there. And now my opponent, you know, now I have 0 life again if I even survive, right? I think that's the way to go. And then just kind of try to win the next turn. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I don't go all in like that. But swing 5, swing 7. And they were bluffing that entire time. They didn't even have the other Linlin. But that's also not bad for me as a Enel, because now I don't have to go back to 1 life. I can actually just, you know, go up from here with, like, my ace. All right, so let's see what happens here. They only have 2 life, and I have 1 life, so my Yamato is pretty much garbage right now. But it's probably still the right play. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm just trying to do some math here. I'm thinking about going 5 into face here. Let's see if he gives me the blocker. He does not. Now let's go 9 into Katakuri. I think that's my next play. Yeah, 9 into Katakuri. Now he has to give me a blocker or 2K and a 1K or some type of event maybe. Gives me an event. The 0 costs 3K. I pop his pudding with my Yamato. And now I'm actually kind of threatening lethal, right? Like there's potential where I can just win the game here. So they swing for 7. They have 2 more attacks left. I'm going to go ahead and play. I'm going to take that. I get a Frankie. Then he plays out his 10-cost Linlin to rip my Frankie. Now he's going 12 into 8. And watch this. What would you do in this situation, guys? What would you do in this situation? I'm going to pause for a second and let y'all decide. My opponent has four cards left in hand. Okay, pause it. Like I said, decide. Now I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I am fully countering out of this, and I'm going everything face next turn because I don't feel like I can win otherwise. I feel like I'm at that point of the game. Some people might say, no, you probably could still win because I could go 9 into the Katakuri and then 10 into Katakuri with my ace and have 2 life that way. There's probably a world in which you can still win by playing out ace and going for board, going up a life. But it's like, you know what? I kind of see an opportunity. I had a feeling. Every now and then you have a feeling, right? Where it's like, you know what? My intuition, I have like what's the word? Like, it's like a guttural response to something. I think that's a Magic the Gathering an MTG instant, a red-green instant from Shadowmoor. But sometimes you just have to have like this response where it's like, you know what? I'm feeling like I can win the game right here. I don't think you have 9K. That's what I'm saying to him. I'm like, I know you don't have 9K now. So I'm like, go swing 9, swing 9, swing 9, swing 10. It's like, if you have it, you have it. If you don't, then oh well. And let's see what he has in his hand. Look at that, guys. And now swing 10. So obviously they don't have it. Okay, they only had 3. They only had 3K counter. And like I said, I just called it. Now, I think one of the reasons I called it is because I saw one of the searches gave them another 10 lin. I didn't know they had all 4. But I kind of had, I like knew from some of the searching. Excuse me. But it was like, you know what? I know they countered out a little bit earlier. I'm just going all in on this. Especially when they gave me the zero cost event, that might have been an indicator that they were running very low on counter. Or that they had just wasted their last counter, depending on how you see it. All right, next up we got Red Purple Law, guys. Like I said, we're going through all the meta leaders today, man. Going against Nami. I know some people are like, oh, this is a dumb matchup. But hey, you do need to know how to defeat Nami with every single leader. And everyone's a little bit different. With Red Purple Law, I think you just swing every single turn. I think you just swing every single turn, aggressively counter out of the stuff that comes at your characters, and just go about it that way. At least that's how I decided to do it. So watch this, guys, right here, hyper-aggressive. I play out Gordon, because they don't really run removal. I mean, he could bounce that back to my hand if he wants to. I'm fine with that if he wants to. Because, you know, they're obviously going to want to bounce back the Kaya to their hand to draw 2 trash to. But it's like, okay, play out the Gordon. Right here, I don't have, like, a great follow-up play. So I'm like, you know what? I do want to get rid of this stupid Kaya card. I'm going to swing 5, swing 6, leader effect to bottom deck the Kaya, which adds a card to their deck, right? That just added a card to their deck they have to draw for the game. And it's a Kaya, by the way, of all cards. So that's, like, at the very bottom of their deck now. And then, so swing 6 here. And I'm going to play out the Shashian Penguin from my hand to go from 4 Dawn down to 3 Dawn. Now that's going to give me a little more, whoops, I almost forgot to bottom deck the Kaya. That would have frustrated me. But then play out the Shashian Penguin, so that's fine. They swing into my Gordon. I don't care at all about that. That literally doesn't matter at all to me. So right here, unfortunately, I cannot play out my, Beppos just yet, but I'll be able to very soon. They do a whiteout here, so now I have to swing 7, and I'm going to play out Shiraya and then throw out a Beppo from my hand with a leader effect. I'm just eating up cards from their hand here. Some people, there's probably an argument to not swing for a while, but I feel like because of how Red Purple Law is set up, I think you do have to keep the pressure on, or they draw too many cards over the course of the game. And then I guess, I don't know, I guess if you get your hands on the 4-cost blocker law, that can make them trash 2 cards from hand, which I am running. If you get your hands on that in time, then it could help. But it's like, you know what, I'd rather just go all face. I'm just going to go all face here. Okay, so right here, I am at 5 Dawn. They are at 7. So I can use Beppo twice here. I can use that Beppo and the Beppo from my hand. All right, let's see what they do. They're doing a Desert Spotter. They're trying to set their top 3 cards currently. So, Nami is a very annoying matchup sometimes, but I think it's very beatable. I don't think you should be discouraged when playing it. Even losing to Nami, guys, it is a serious deck. It's not a bad deck. I just got a 2K counter out of their hand. They're down to 2 cards. I'm going to go ahead and swing for 5 with the Kid and Killer, and then I'm going to cheat out the other Beppo, go up another Dawn. Now I can protect. Unfortunately, I have a Gordon in my hand, so I can only protect like 1 turn here with my Shiraya. But that's okay. That might be all I need, right? That might be all I need. I do have a full board here, so that's very nice. So swings for 7 into my Kid and Killer. Shiraya matches the power of my opponent's leader, and then I 2K counter out of it because that's all I had. Again, I don't have any counters here, so I am going to just let whatever character get KO'd this turn. All right, they did Whiteout, which puts them up to 6. That Whiteout card took this deck to a whole nother level. Whiteout is actually so good against decks like Law because it forces you to, you know, you're already trying to go wide. Now you have to spread Dawn wide like that as well. Okay, so I'm going to swing 6 into 6. They gave me a 2K counter, Desert Spada. They have 1 Dawn open this turn and only 4 cards in hand. That is how you beat Nami, guys. The way to beat Nami is to get all the Dawn tapped on their side of the field. If you're playing a green deck that has like Hody Jones in it or something along those lines, tapping down Dawn can win you a game. Tapping down Dawn can literally win you the game. Don't forget, guys, Hody Jones can tap down Dawn. So I smash in for 8 here. This should get through because they have no Dawn open. They can't use any events. Swing for 8. Now swing for 7 with this guy. Let's see if he wants to give me another 2K counter, if he even has another 2K counter. He doesn't. He's down to 1 life, and I think he still has about 20 cards left in his deck. We're in a very good position to win this game. He has 20 cards left in deck exactly after playing out the Kaya. Excuse me. Okay, and at this point, guys, whatever he swings into, I just have to let die because I don't have any way to counter out of it. But now I can fill up that last spot that I just used up with my Kid and Killer in hand. You see what I mean? So right here, we're going to go 7s, I think, across the board. I can't use my Beppos anymore. I'm at 10 Dawn, just like my opponent is. They go ahead and use a counter to get out of that. They used a whiteout, I believe. So I actually considered not swinging here because they used a whiteout. It's like, maybe I wait till next turn, but it's like, no, they're down to 4 Dawn left. I'm going to swing 7s across the board here and whatever else I can. Yep, he had to use another whiteout there. And now it's like, okay, that's kind of annoying, but I'll bottom deck the, like I said, I'm tempted to play out the Sanji so that I could just go next turn. Like, just pass while they have 3 cards and just go for it next turn. That might have been the right play. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. But it's like, I feel pretty good about this. So we're going to swing 7. We're going to swing 7. We're going to swing 9. Okay, now they're all tapped out. Big trouble. GG. No way out of that one. Unless they had Kaya and a 1K counter like Daw's Bones or something. So really good stuff there, but that was pretty much, you know, we kind of ran that Nami player over. And I'm not saying they were a bad player. I do think Red Purple Law has a very favorable matchup into Nami. Not to say that Nami can't win. If it sees the right cards, it can absolutely win. Okay, we got one more game, guys. Black Yellow Luffy. What an absolute beast of a deck this one is, guys. What an absolute what a fun deck to play this one here. Now, I will say this. One thing I have noticed is people are starting to... Wait, did I 2x speed it? Sorry, guys. Speed 2x, yeah. People are starting to learn how to play around Black Yellow Luffy. People are starting to figure it out. Now, I don't think this guy does very well. In fact, I think this guy gets aggressive with me. Hey, if you want to know how to beat Black Yellow Luffy, you don't do that. You do not get aggressive with Black Yellow Luffy because, number one, it's letting him draw all these cards and letting him fix his hand and do what he needs to, you know, based on that. And it's letting him get down to 0 so he can turn on his leader's effect. And if I have 0 life, your 12 cost or your 10 cost 12k Lin is pretty much worthless, right? Because it doesn't really help me, or it doesn't really hurt me like it should. Excuse me. All right, so he plays out a Smoothie. That's very interesting. I guess he's been going against a lot of Enels that have been trying to like take their time against him. It is a card you can get from life as well, so I'm not really sure. I still kind of like Cracker in the spot of Smoothie currently. That's just me. You know, to each their own. That's really just a preference thing. No matter what 4-cost trigger character it was, I'm going to play out my Luffy there, pop it, and since I'm already at 2 life because my opponent's attacking into me, I can do it easily. Look at this. He thinks, okay, swing 5, swing 5. I'm going to take it now. I'm absolutely going to take all this, and I'll just 2k, 1k out of this one because he's going to swing for 7. Okay, 2k, 1k, filling up my trash. That's fine. I did have to use a 2k, which was unfortunate, but who cares? I'm on 8 Dawn. Here we go, guys. Here come the fireworks, right? This is how this deck works. I'm going to attach 2 to my leader. I'm going to trash a card from hand, and then I'm going to put 2 5-cost characters from my hand or trash into my life. I'm going to play out the according to call, the proper 2-cost characters. My board's looking good right now, and I'm going to go ahead and do a top 5 search with that event, and then I'm going to swing for like 11 at the or was it 12 at the leader. He gets a Kikinojo. He probably thinks, oh, I got him now. It's like, no. This is why Black Yellow Luffy just ignores the board. I don't care what's on your board until it starts hitting like the 8, 9, 10 cost range, right? Or anything higher than that. Or not range, 8, 9, 10k range. Because now every turn, I only have 1 Gecko this turn, but still, watch this. I'm on a 10 Dawn turn. Trash a card from my hand. I'm going to get 2 5-cost characters into my life. Put them in the correct order. Play out the Gecko Moria. Put out the little guys. And here we go. We're in full on. Rinse and repeat. I'm at 9,000 power this turn on my leader. I'm not swinging into his leader. I'm swinging into face. I considered cracking that card to pop the Kikinojo, but why would I? It just doesn't make sense. I don't want to give them a life, and I'm not scared of that card. Now, watch what they do here. This next turn here, you're going to see happens when you have knowledge of what's going on. Why do you think they're only swinging for 6k? They're obviously going to play Tinlin this turn, right? Or some type of 9 or 10 cost character. That's why they're doing that. And it's like, okay, they basically told me what they're trying to do. And it's like, okay, no problem. I'll give you a 2k counter. I'll give you another, or a 1k counter that time. I'll give you a 2k counter now. Now what? Drop 10, Lin. Bad news. Don't forget to use that Luffy, guys, the one I just clicked on. It is very easy to forget to use that character. Swing for 9. Let's see what he's going to give me. I don't think I can finish him just yet. But I think we can get close. We'll swing for 9 more. Takes it, gets a Brulee. Right here, I'm just going to crack the Brulee. I probably could have gone for it, but at the same time, it's like, why would I even risk it? Why would I even risk it? So I go ahead and play out the Sabo. I trash 2 cards. I'm going to attach 2 to my leader. I'm going to gain 2 life here. It doesn't matter what it is. I just needed to gain 2 life because now I have 2 blockers, 2 life, and I'm putting him at 1 life. Okay, so in this situation, I can literally take 2 hits. He trashes 1 with Big Mom. It's like, bro, okay, pause. So that was a slight inaccuracy considering what I had on the board. I think his best line of play there would have been to like swing for 7, 7, 7, 12, and then just go about the game that way, right? Maybe play out a blocker, try to gain a life in some other way. Well, he might not be able to play out a, I don't know. Maybe he's just so far like gone at this point that was the best play. It's hard to say because I don't know what's in his hand. Swing for 6. I've got 2Ks for days. 2K, swings into my Gecko. Nope, you're not getting that card. And now swing 9 at face. Use that card, attach 12 to it or whatever, attach 10. We're going to swing for 18. GG. No way out of that. He got to 14. He got to 14, which was impressive, but there's no way to get out of that one. All right, good stuff, guys. Like I said, this video, we had a lot to talk about, guys. We had a lot to talk about. We still have to go over the deck list real quick. I'll try and go over those quickly. There's not too much to talk about on here. These are lists that most people already know about. These are just, let me move my face. These are just the meta lists that you can find on any OnePieceTopDecks.com website or website like that. I didn't really have any spiciness today. So Bonney, like I said, let me move the leader. This is the deck that got 2nd place at Utrecht. Okay, this is just a really solid list. I don't know the guy's name. Let me find his name real quick. His name was Armin Haji Gassimi. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry, but that's the person who was piloting this one, if I'm not mistaken. I think I just straight up copy pasted the whole list, guys. So that's where this list is from. Very solid. This does use the double searchers, like it uses Jewelry Bonney to search up Supernovas, and it uses Baby 5 to search up Don Quixote Pirates. Me and my buddy have been talking about, me and my buddy Mike at Locals, shout out to Mike if he's listening. We've been talking about it. There might be an argument to just go full in on Supernova at this point, but hey, this guy obviously made it work. I see what they're looking for, right? They're looking for the Rosinantes, the Doflamingos, the zero cost event is Don Quixote. There's a 2K counter to snag, and then that's about it, though. Yeah, I think that's it, actually. And Viola, they can also search up another 2K counter. But whatever the case is, this obviously works just fine, but I wouldn't be surprised in the future to see a more like Supernova heavy list. Really good stuff here. Okay, playing this deck, you have to be very patient. Excuse me. Always keep 1 Dawn active. Get down Urus as fast as you can to get the free Dawn active when you can. And then you could just start completely bullying the board in that way. Get down your big guys like Eustace Kid to hide behind. Get down your Doflamingos to lock the board down with. Use your Jewelry Bonnies to use on your opponent's Dawn so they can't play their 10-drop characters on 10 Dawn. And then Hody Jones to finish out games. Same thing with Zoro, and the same idea. Cavendish is just incredible. Play him when you can as well. 4 Basil Hawkins to hide behind. Really solid list. Not going to spend too much time on it. Just really good stuff there. Next up, we'll do the Black-Yellow Luffy. This is the one I was using, but I'll show you another list in a second. This is the list that I was using, and I think it works just great. I think it works just fine. And I've even considered, hear me out, I've considered dropping aces at this point, like the whole entire ace package here, and just going up 3 of the yellow Sabos, this one right here. I've considered just going up 3 or 4 of these, to be honest. I like the Kuzan, just in case your opponent does have the, what's his name? The 9 cost Zoro, because that's a big problem. If you guys saw in the game that I played, if 9 cost Zoro comes down, you have to have an answer for it. There's no option. So I think against Bonney, just take your time and just get to 10 Dawn, drop Kuzan, and then you can go from there. Because they don't have an answer for getting rid of Kuzan. There is no answer for them to KO Kuzan. Okay, so if you can establish this, and then you can KO stuff with your, where's the other Luffy at? The pop a 4 or less Luffy, think about it, guys. With Kuzan down, you're popping a 9 or less. So you can hit the Kuzan easily, and if we introduce this Sabo to the list, you can also potentially hit a 10 cost if needed. Maybe it's like a 2 or 3 of, we'll see. I'll try to keep y'all updated. But there's one other Black-Yellow Luffy list I at least want to show you guys. I call it Luffy Ship because it won a bunch of flagships. And I've linked this before in a previous video. I'll try to link it again if I remember in the comment section below. But this list apparently won 2 flagships and went 4-1 at the 3rd one. They almost won 3 straight in the East, and back in the OP07 format. Excuse me. And this list, guys, is just very solid. it's just really good. Yeah, I mean, it does what it does. But I'm just not a huge fan of the Imperial Ivankovs, and I'm also not a massive fan of the Thunderbolts. I would rather just run the searchable Sabo here. And I get it, for 2 costs you can remove a card from life and pop a 5 or less. I 100% understand, and this does even smack the Cavendish if your opponent has that, like if it's against Bonney. I'd rather just have the Sabo. That's just me personally. You guys play what you want to. All right, so that was Black Yellow Luffy. Let's go to Enel now. I'm just kind of going in alphabetical order. Enel 7. Okay, this is the list I was using. This is the list I've been running lately with Enel. I did switch over to the 7-cost Lin. For a while, I was using the 7-cost Vanilla Compote, I think their name was. This card right here. Yeah. 7 cost 9,000 power, 1k counter Compote, because it has a 1k counter on it. And sometimes that's all you need, just to like be comfortable against the 5k attacks. Sometimes you just need a 1k counter, and sometimes this card feels dead in hand when your opponent's already down to like 0 life. So, I mean, yes, you can still trash it with cards like You're the One Who Should Disappear. You can cycle it with cards like Shirahoshi. I understand there's a lot of ways to do it, but my point is this card's never dead because it's at least a 1k counter. That's at least my thoughts on it. But I did swap over to Charlotte Lin because playing it on curve just feels so good, especially if it's somewhat of a stalemate. Okay, so everything else in here is pretty self-explanatory. You run the 4 aces, you run the 4 Katakuris, you run the 4 Yamatos. That is straightforward. That is how every list looks for this deck. It is what it is. The 2k counter package is also typically the same. You got the Flampeys, the Frankies, and the Beiges now. That's pretty much universal at this point, I think. The You're the One Who Should Disappear and the Rygos, those are dead on. Not everyone is running Thunderbolts. I think I did get this list from the East, if I remember correctly, and I might have made a few revisions, but not everyone's running Thunderbolt. This could also be Sabo if you want it to be. It's up to you. But at the same time, or even like once we get to OP08, this probably just immediately becomes Nami, right? Yeah, let me bring up Nami real quick. I think this card right here, the Thunderbolt, just instantly changes over to this card. Maybe. This deck doesn't have a lot of trigger cards in it, but it does probably have enough to pull this off. Like, you know, maybe at that point you go up to 4 Luffys. You already got the 4 Beige, Hoshis, and Frankies. You've got these guys here. And then you can also trash itself, right? If you have 2 of these, you can use. And it's a 1k counter. Like I said, this is probably going to be a direct transition into OP08. And one thing I think that some people might mess around with in OP08 is a card that I think is incredible. It's a card called Bonney. Excuse me. This card going into OP08 is probably going to be a mainstay in like every single yellow deck. It's just so good. It's a 3-cost 4K, which is 1K under swinging into the average leader, and then it's a 1K counter. Trigger, draw 2, trash 1. Dawn times 1 on your turn when your opponent loses life. Draw 2, trash 1. This card is so solid, guys. It's so good. It's really, really good. Okay, so that's Enel. Let's go over to Lucci now. Okay, I've gone through a lot of iterations of Lucci. Let me move the leader so we can see the actual board. This is what I'm on currently. I like the stage. I am a firm believer in the Brook and Kaku early game so that I can have control by the time we get into the mid or late game. Like I said, I really stand behind Brook and Kaku. I think they're just extremely good. I could see going down 1 or 2 of each of these, though, if that's not your style, if you think other cards could be in that spot and you do a better job. But from what I've experienced, like I said, it's just so nice to just pop whatever I want to with Brook and Kaku and then Eni's Lobby. You know, this is, I would like to find a spot to go up to 4 of these. I might even drop a single Isho. We'll see. Or maybe drop a single Sabo and make this a 1 of. It's hard to say, guys. We'll have to see. I'm a huge supporter of the Helmeppo. The Gecko Moria getting back Rebecca plus Helmeppo getting back, you know, Rebecca getting back Brook. Or even Spandine. I'm not running Spandine in this list. Oh, yeah, I am. I was going to say, I could have sworn I was using Spandine. So that way, you can use Spandine to get back Rob Lucci, or you can just grab Brook back. And in this deck, guys, with just 8 Dawn, if you have the stage down, swing with your leader, that's -1 to a character, -2 with the stage, -3 with the Helmeppo, and then the Brook's going to be able to hit a 7, the Rob Lucci's going to be able to hit an 8 if you need to. So that is what I really like about this package. And then, hey, if you have down Isho as well, you can pop whatever you want to. You know what I mean? If you have an Isho down, so maybe I don't go down to 1 of these. Maybe I just go down to 1 Sabo. But I do think Sabo's very good, guys. I would not sleep on this card. If you were to get rid of Sabo, I would go up to 4 Rob Lucci's. That's like the one thing I would probably do right away if I were to go down my Sabos. But yeah, I don't really know what to say other than that. I am running 10 2K counters. I'm running 4 Khalifa, 4 Kaku, and 2 Subarus. The Subarus are just nice utility 2K counters where I can do -2 to a character if I need it for 1, or I can bring it back with Gecko if I don't have my Helmet Epos already in the trash. So, yeah, pretty straightforward list. I do have, mine's a little spicier than others, I think, with the way that I run the Helmet Epos and stuff. I think most other decks are running more blockers. I think most decks are running somewhere between 6 to 8 blockers. Well, I am running 6. I've got 2 Sabos, 4 Rebecca's, but some are also splashing in the Borsalinos, I believe. That's up to you. That's going to be, you know, a personal decision for however you want to pilot the deck. And maybe it depends on what's in your meta, what you expect to go against. But honestly, I don't know. The way that this was working for me, I rarely have a complaint like, man, I really wish I had something else on the list that could help me. It's like, no, this deck just performs. Okay, and then last but not least, we had, what was it? We had Enel, Bonney, Red Purple Law, RP Law. Okay, let's go to that. And then we'll wrap up and go over to the art critique. Here it is, guys. This is my Red Purple Law list. I'm running 2 Laws, 2 Shariahs, 2 Choppers. It's kind of like the spiciest tech I have in here. If you don't have, let me say this right now, guys. If you don't have the 4 Gordons, I would just tech these out for something else. Just literally put in something along the lines of like, what's it called? The 2-cost Fire Fist. I would just run Fire Fist in the place of this if you don't have it. And I would just run Ein in the place of these if you don't have these. Those are the 2 big money cards in the deck currently. Everything else should be moderately, you know, pretty affordable. Moderately affordable. I do think there is an idea behind going down a single one of these. So, I mean, you could even go down 1 Gordon in this case and actually go up 1 Zoro. I think 5 for your rush number is like a magic number because that's literally 1/10 of your deck. 1 out of every 10 cards should be a rush card at that point. So maybe it fixes your numbers just a little bit. And it would go down a Gordon, so that way you could just go to 3 Fire Fists here. Which is not a bad idea anyway, because we're starting to see a lot of 7,000 power characters just randomly show up with, like, I think some decks are even messing around with Smoker now, the 5-cost 7K Smoker. Any kind of red-green Odin deck, which is very strong against Red-Purple Law, they're going to have a lot of 7K characters, so having Fire Fist might give you the edge on them, and it'll save you probably 80 to 100 bucks, whatever these Gordons cost nowadays. Like I said with this card, I think Ein does the trick just fine here. It is what it is. Like, yeah, you lose the 1K counter, but this card, Into the Mirror, is just a dead card. Because if you played this out, yes, you did get to ramp a Dawn, but it's like, okay, now I can probably play out my Beppo since you ramped so much. But on top of that, I will probably also just get rid of this card on the following turn without having to waste one of my power reducers. You know what I mean? So let me type this in real quick. Let me type in Zoro. This was the card I was recommending add to the list. I think going up 1 Zoro to get to 5 rush characters is kind of like a hot spot, like I said. So I've seen some people run 4 Kid and Killer and 2 Zoros. I think 5 is like just fine though. If I were to make a quick revision to the list, this would probably be it. And if I was trying to make the list a little more budget, I would get rid of these Mr. 2s and the Gordons for the Fire Fist and the Ein. Now the only list, I don't mean to go backwards, I forgot to mention it. Enel, you're not going to be able to make a budget. It just is what it is. The way that the deck works, the way that the leader works, and the way that you need those secret rares to give you, like, you need Katakuri. You might be able to go down to 2 Katakuri at the most, but you want to use your Katakuris to recycle your Shirahoshis and your Frankies and whatever else you get from your life, or even potentially bounce a Kid out of the way, an 8-cost Eustace Kid, an 8-cost Gecko Moria, the Mirror Match 8-cost Katakuri, you name it. It's just hard to give those cards up. Same thing with the secret rare. What's his name? Ace. Poor Costi Ace. Excuse me. That card is just so strong for what it does. It's like when you're down to 1, which is where you find yourself at all the time as an L, you can smash into your opponent and just, you know, or excuse me, play the character down, gain a life to go up to 2, and still smash into your opponent or into their board or whatever you need to do to win the game. So, yeah. So that's it, guys. That's about it. I would say all these decks we looked at today are around the same price range, probably somewhere between $200 to $350, depending on where you live, obviously, and depending on what kind of deals are going on and how budget you want to make the list. The lower end, I think Lucci is probably around $250 right now. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I'm just saying if you're trying to build like the absolute best top tier decks, $250 is not the craziest thing for that, in my opinion. Especially when I'm probably going to be doing a video on this other game that I mess with soon, and I want to talk about that in there. I play this game called Flesh and Blood, which I think is a great game, but I think the market is just so unbelievably overpriced. I'm not going to get into it, guys. Just know that there are decks in that game that go upwards into the thousands range. So whenever I come over here, I know 250s are very expensive for some people, but for me, I'm like, man, that's cheap, you know, because coming from this other game, it's like, holy cow. But like I said, I think I actually will do a video on that very soon on Flesh and Blood, just kind of talking about it. But we'll save that for the future. All right, guys, that's it for this breakdown. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Now we're going to hop over to the art critique portion of the video. Have a lot of fun there. As usual, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment section below. Okay? Good stuff all around. All right, here we go, guys. Borsalino, one of my absolute favorite characters here. You know, because black is my color, and y'all know I don't really watch the anime or the manga or whatever, read the manga. But we are going to critique this piece here because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. I don't know why I made the canvas so small here, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to adjust the canvas here. I usually do 1920 by 1080. Brush. Let's fill this in black. Select this. Let's increase the size and all that. What do you guys think about in the future? This is just random. What do you guys think about the future? Me doing like showing you how I make my thumbnails, because I've had a few people ask me now, as random as it is. I just kind of, you know, I came up with my own formula to make thumbnails. If anyone's interested in me putting out a tutorial on how to make thumbnails, like if you're a content creator and you struggle with that, then I might, if I get enough people asking for it, I might do that. It'll kind of be like a real artsy video where I'll show you guys how I make the swirls in the back and all that. It could be a lot of fun, but if you guys aren't interested in it, I'm not going to push it on you. Okay, now anyway, back to our art critique. So the first thing I want to talk about with this piece here is we have a very static pose. Like notice what's going on here. I'm gonna try to make a where's my brush tool at? Here we go. So this figure here, Borsalino, he is very much standing like this, right? We have just a very standard pose. The arm is dropped down here. The hand, of course, gets huge. We got the finger coming out to here, and that's what's going on for the pose. The pose is actually very static. It's very much, I've got my hand in my pocket and I'm pointing at you. Not too much going on. It's not. So in the art world, excuse me, there are static poses, which are very, you know, resolute. You're standing still. You're not moving. And then there are dynamic poses where you're doing something. You're blocking. You're falling. Well, right now, Borsalino's in a very static pose, right? He's even got this arm down to the side, right? He's even got this arm down. He's just pointing his finger at you, and he's about to do some kind of special power here. Now, going over to that, this is very cool. Check this out, guys, like what we got here with the circles. I love when they do the circles, I have to say. I was supposed to make that into a 3D. Hang on one second. Let's go ahead and do like let's make it into a purple maybe. Nah, it's a little light. Let me see. Will green pop still? We kind of already used a green. What about like a blue? Blue is pretty good. That helps. Dadgummit, I lost it again. Hang on. I keep forgetting to press 3D when I'm done. All right, so make 3D so I can still like move it around afterwards. And then the next one here, the next circle is even further out because of how powerful this move is, right? And then from this move here, check this out. We've got these rays of like light emitting from him. We'll just use this tool here. So we got, you know, first we got the nice little, let me get this thing going. We'll use green maybe again. No, don't like that. Don't like that. We'll go to red. Red's okay. Red's okay. We'll make that one 3D. And then we'll also have one going the other direction. You see this little crosshair again. They love doing this. It is a very interesting thing to add. And then from there, it doesn't stop. From there, it doesn't stop. Then you also have these beams of light shooting out in every which direction here, away from this extremely powerful attack that Borsalino is about to do. Okay, and I'm just kind of throwing these all on here. I'm not even whoops, I forgot to make that one 3D, but that's okay. All right, and then one more right here. So you see what's going on again. It's not a dynamic pose. So so how do you make something that's static interesting? Well, in this case, it comes down to what the effect is he's using. Now, I feel like this one's not super thematic for the card. If I'm not mistaken, someone tell me in the comment section below, is this somewhere around the time where Rayleigh shows up, or is this at another time? I can't tell by the background, because it doesn't look like a forest, but maybe this is like a village or something behind him, or is this at Marineford? It's very hard for me to tell. Like, even when I zoom in, even if I get rid of all the different stuff on here, let me see. We can get the picture back. Is this Marineford, or is this when he was out chasing the Straw Hats? I can't really tell. Either way, it looks really cool. So how do you make a piece interesting when it's just static like this? And I think the answer has a lot to do with the facial expression. Like, notice his face. He's got like this really weird, I don't want to call it like a dopey smile, but like this very strange smile going on. And then he's got this power emitting from the finger. There's something going on. Okay, there's something going on here. And that really helps, especially in the anime manga world, right, in the manga universe. But the other way to make something interesting is to have a piece with an extremely powerful background and backstory. And that's what makes a piece very interesting, even with the most static of poses. And we see that a lot, I think, like with the medieval art, you know, the stuff around the time of the Renaissance, and like in the actual, you know, all the masterpiece paintings we've seen from I'm sure you've seen from your history books and whatnot. And maybe from your art classes. I don't know, Trent. All right, well, that's about it, guys. That's all I'm going to do on this. I've been talking for way too long today. This is like an hour and 15-minute long video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about the community gameplay review section of the video, because I want to make that into a mainstay. And if I keep getting videos to, you know, review from the viewers, I'm going to keep it going, guys, because I have a lot of fun talking about games, and it's just another, you know, dimension that I can add to the channel. All right, and another way I can give back to the community and stuff like that, because you can kind of see it as almost like a miniature coaching session, right? So good stuff there. Hope y'all enjoyed. Y'all tell me what y'all think. What deck are y'all playing? All right, let me split this into two parts here. If you're a meta player, what deck are you playing to beat all the other meta decks? And if you're an off-meta deck player, however you say that, what off-meta deck are you playing to combat all of these leaders? Because I'll tell you who I have in mind. I might have spoken about him recently. Had a video on him with you know, cough, Sabo, red yellow Sabo. You know, I think that deck has a chance. We'll have to do. We'll have to see. We'll have to do some play testing. All right, that's it. I'm done. Let's go ahead and get up the playmat page here. Let me shrink my head down. Big shout out to everybody who supports my channel. All the people who bought the playmat. Thank you guys so much. Y'all are awesome. Once all these sell, I'll probably consider doing another playmat, but I gotta at least, you know, wait for a little more to sell, and then we might go for another playmat. And I might do like a community vote on it to see what you guys are interested in you know, in seeing next, but we'll have to see. That's in the future, right? That's a ways away. So big shout out to the VV Pirates playmat supporters, and also a big shout out to the VV Pirates patron page supporters here. Thank you guys so much for helping me out, literally just to help out for no other reason than that. All right, I think I'm done. Thank you to everybody who just watches the channel, you know, likes it, subscribes, shares it, comments, all that stuff. It all feeds the algorithm. It all helps the channel grow. It's all good for everybody, right? It's all, you know, everybody gets, you know, benefits or rewarded from that, however you say it. Okay, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed. Till next time, peace.